What is going on, world? We are live. Welcome back to another Hangout with the Hungarian live stream. So, uh, usually I do these on Wednesdays at 6 o'clock Eastern, but as of right now, we got a lot going on with the click here at the mansion. We actually, July 1st is on Wednesday and it's Canada Day. So we're doing a little celebration for that. And then the next week after that, we got something that I can't really tell you guys about, but that's going to be taking up my time on Wednesday as well. So I'm going to have to figure out what day is best for this. Today, we're just going to shoot this on Monday, but what is going on, world? If there's anyone in the chat there, let me know if you can hear me well. Let me know if you can see me. And also, let me know where you are from in the world. But as you can see from the title, today we're going to talk about the Tesla of men. Yeah. Are you being the Tesla of men or the Tesla of women? This is a concept I want to discuss today that I got from George Bruno, and we're going to highlight his YouTube channel today. I think he's got a great YouTube channel, and I'm loving some of the stuff he's been saying. I actually subscribed to him like a year or two ago, but like most content here on YouTube, a lot is getting suppressed. I don't know why I'm not getting any of his notifications, but I went through my subscription list today while I was going for a walk, and I was looking for something to listen to, and I saw his channel. So I was like, oh, let's see what he's up to. And I binged like 6 or 7 of his videos. So today we're going to discuss the Tesla of men. Are you being the Tesla of men? Are you being the Tesla of women? We're going to talk about that a little bit. I also started up a new book here, so we're going to dive into this in a sec, Hitler's Professors. And today we're also going to talk about body soap and the negative effects of body soap. And if you guys saw recently, I was discussing Connor Murphy, who's doing a 40-day fast. And as I mentioned before, when he was making his goodbye video, he was either going through a mental breakdown or a mental breakthrough. And I believe a lot of his journey before this was very egoic, very egotistical, very ego dominated, or at least that's the content that he was sharing with the world. I think he's just smart. He knew how to hack the YouTube system, and he got lots of followers and lots of views. And he realized, like, I don't want to keep doing this anymore. Probably after his psychedelic experience, but he actually just came out admitting that he had like a crazy kind of like infection for a long portion of his life. And it wasn't until after he stopped using antibacterial soap and stopped using body soap that this actually cleared up. And this is the concept that I've been discussing on my YouTube channel for a long time now. And I don't use body soap. Like, I can't remember the last time I used body soap, while in the shower. So today we're going to dive into some concepts about that, but let's get into this book here. So if you guys know, I was recently just reading The Vegetarian Myth and I was saying her name wrong this whole time. It's not Leary, it's Pierre, but with an L. So Lear Keith. So I apologize, Lear, if you ever watch some of my videos. I brutally fucked up your name this whole time. I'm so bad with names. I apologize. I try to say people's usernames. Like, I'm not even sure how I would pronounce this. ASAP Kikoa? ASAP Kikoa is in the chat, says loud and clear from Maui. What is going on? If you guys are in the chat, let me know where you're from in the world, and we'll give you guys a little shout out. But shout out to Lear Keith. I just finished her book, The Vegetarian Myth. I still got some concepts I want to pull from this, but great book. I really suggest people read this. Lots of great information in there. But today I actually started Hitler's Professors. So this is a fascinating book already, but it kind of dives in and discusses how it shows how a lot of scientists, a lot of philosophers, a lot of historians from the German society actually helped fuel and supported Hitler's rise to power and the eventual, the whole Holocaust and all that kind of stuff. So it's fascinating to see, and I honestly believe this is prevalent with what's going on in society right now today, where they had book burnings back then. I think the same thing's happening on YouTube and a lot of these social media platforms, where it's not book burning because we're not having a lot of people gathered together, but they're just completely banning people off these social media platforms. People who have done nothing wrong besides have open conversations. So I think this stuff is very prevalent right now. I'm going to show you guys this George Bruno guy in a sec, and he even admits that, he was getting 100 to 200 subscribers a day, and all of a sudden over this last year, everything's like grinded to a halt, where he's only getting a few a day. Now, I think I'm losing a lot of subscribers right now because of the carnivore diet and everything that I'm discussing on there and sharing with you guys. But a lot of the people that I watch who are not up there with the status quo, who aren't just saying what needs to be said and what's supposed to be said, a lot of them are saying that a lot of their content seems to not be getting pushed out. Their subscribers aren't seeing it. They're dropping down in regards to how many subscribers they're getting every day. So I honestly believe this is very prevalent with what's going on right now. And we can see it in our universities. If you guys watched my last live stream where I discussed Brett Weinstein, who was just on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, he discusses that he's an evolutionary biologist, and he says things like there are only two genders, and he teaches this kind of stuff. And with our liberal crazy society and our crazy world right now, a lot of people are against that. And he actually got like chased out from one of the universities that he was teaching at, because like people were chasing him with bats and protesting because he was having a talk and a lecture and a discussion. So we're getting to this place where, and he even admits, and I showed in my video, which video is it actually? But he shows that there were actual other professors that were challenging enlightenment. Yeah. Like, this is ridiculous, the society and the world we're getting into. My video, Science is Racist Now. Hashtag shut down STEM, where they're literally wanting to shut down science, technology, engineering, and mathematics and trying to say it's racist. And Brett Weinstein shows that like universities are more liberal than ever. They want to accept anyone who doesn't fit that white male doctrine. So it's just crazy where we're getting into the world where we're doing things more on our feelings than actual science and actual facts. And we're getting to a crazy place. And I question if this is what was going on back then as well, too. If people were fitting the narrative of the time rather than looking at the actual science and stuff. So I'm very interested to dive into Hitler's professors here. Again, I'm only like 25 pages in right now, 27 pages, but interested to see how that book goes, because it's just it's a fascinating concept. And again, I think it's very prevalent with what's going on here in the world today. Shout out to Unknown Expression. They're in the chat, says, hey man, keep doing what you do. You lose some subs, you gain some subs, it doesn't matter. Oh, 100%. Like, I'm cool with it. If I wasn't, and I was like a lot of other YouTubers, I'd be, the second I started losing subscribers for the carnivore diet, I would stop doing that stuff. But again, that's not me. I'm here to be as open and honest as possible. I've been doing this for the last 6 years. I'm doing this to try to provide value to people. I'm not doing this to try to gain a lot of fame and a lot of stardom or anything like that, or try to do it because of sponsorships. This is why I haven't taken on any sponsorships. I don't want to be beholden to what I can and want to say in the world. I want to discuss the things openly and honestly and passionately. And I think a lot of other people who are similar to me are noticing that kind of censorship that's happening to them in the world. So it's just some crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. So as I mentioned today, we're going to talk about body soap and the negative effects of body soap. So we're just going to share my screen here real quick. But if you guys are following along, recently I just showed Connor Murphy, who, this guy who, again, I believe his journey before this was very egoic, but he hacked the system. In 101 videos, he managed to get 2.45 million views. And right now he's documenting a 40-day fast. And I think he's on day 14 or day 15 so far. Again, if he's being open and honest and truthful, this is an amazing human experiment that's going on in the world. But as I mentioned there, he actually is he's coming out and revealing a lot of stuff that I think he was very insecure about in the past. He actually admitted to wearing, doing a penis extender experiment. I know me even saying that P word might limit this video, but it is what it is. Again, I want to be as truthful and open and honest to myself as I can be. I'm not going to limit myself or hold myself back. But guys, go check out this video, how I grew my you-know-what by 1.5 inches. And he admits that for several years, he wore this thing that helped stretch out his ding-dong. Yeah, and he grew it by 1.5 inches. And again, when you're a guy like this and you're doing things like that, this shows that he was very egoic many times. But even the day before that, he came out with a video discussing how he had a deadly infection for 14 years and then cured it. And he mentions how, throughout his, like, right around that puberty time, I think like in his, like, before he was a teenager, he started noticing he's getting like pimples around his legs and his groin area, like his lower half of his body. And then as he became a teenager and started to get into his late teens, it started to get a lot worse. And he was trying everything he could. He was using different soaps. He was trying even bleaching, like sitting in tubs of bleach and doing all this stuff. And some things were helping, but then it would come back. And what he found out is that when he stopped using body soap and actually allowed the natural bacteria on our skin to come back, that over time, it started to help it. And this is something I've been discussing for a long time now. I made this video August 25th, 2015, over 5 years ago, about body soap and why we need to stop using body soap. So I'm just going to share a little bit here because I think the beginning's interesting, but let's check this out.
Old Spice odor blocker body wash has 16 hours of BO blocking power! Sorry about that.
What is going on, world? The Hungarian experiment here. And a couple months back, in one of my day-to-day videos, I said this.
It sure smells good in here. That's because this blocks BO! Sorry.
All right, that's not what I actually said. Wow, how crazy does this look? Like, my whole face has changed. It's nuts. Now that I have a beard and everything, and now I'm actually growing my hair out. We're going to see how that experiment goes. But guys, I put this in the description box below. I really suggest you guys go check it out because I break down the ingredients that are on the back of like 3 major body soaps, at least the 3 major body soaps here in Canada. It's like Irish Spring, Old Spice, and Zest. And I show how there's like dangerous chemicals in there. Chemicals, like, they have formaldehyde in this shit. There's dangerous stuff that's in this that slowly breaks down our skin's bacterial wall. Like stuff that's so like deadly, but because it's in such a low parts per million that it's allowed to be in this. But what they're not considering, and I think what they're just okay with doing within the FDA, is that they're not understanding that you're going to use this body soap, then you use this hand soap, and then you're putting lotion on your moisturizer on your skin, and then you're doing this and this, and women especially too are wearing tons of makeup, and that stuff has chemicals in it that's leaching into their skin. It's fascinating when I watch some women who do these like makeup tutorials, and they have so much acne, and then they just cover it up with this stuff. Every day they're putting this stuff on their face that's fucking up their skin. Now, I haven't used body soap. Like, I maybe use it a couple times a year, only if I'm getting like actually dirty. Like, I get mud and stuff all over me. But besides that, I have like a couple showers a day, maybe, usually at least one a day. And I have a cold shower, 10 to 15 minutes, but I don't use any soap on my body. This is all natural bacteria. I don't use any moisturizers. I don't use any of this kind of crap. Now, if you do want to use stuff, I think using natural stuff, I know like the Frank Tofano guy that I've been watching recently, he uses and makes actually natural kinds of soaps and lotions and lip balm and stuff. The only thing I probably use on my skin is like lip chap. And probably in the winters, I use it a decent amount. And summer times, maybe once a week, I'll feel some cracking. And I put some like Blistex lip balm on my lips. But besides that, I don't use any kind of chemicals. I don't use any kind of crap. I'm all natural. Nothing. Now, I do understand some people are stinkier than others, which, again, I would use some natural kind of deodorant, some natural kind of body soaps, or just bar soap. But in general, I think a big part of your stank is your diet. I know for myself that depending on what I eat, like if I eat crappy for a couple days, I can smell that. It comes out of my pores when I'm sweating. And I think a big thing as well, too, is you need to be sweating often. The more you sweat, the more you get this crap out of your body, the better. So I think that's fascinating. And shout out to Connor Murphy for admitting that, because I know that's hard for a lot of people. It's hard for a lot of people to admit that you had a deadly infection for many years and that you don't use body soap. because this is another one of these these things going on in society. Oh my God, they don't use body soap. Like, it's such an insecure thing to think. Like, when I even mentioned to some of my roommates here, they're like, "You don't use body soap?" I was like, "No." Like I can smell it when Shahir, for instance, he leaves the shower. It's just like, it just smells like perfume. And it's like, man, every day you're lathering yourself in that crap. You're just rubbing it all over your skin is an organ that covers your whole body. We pour sweat out. So you have to assume that things soak into your body. And you're rubbing these chemicals, all these heavy laden chemicals, all over your body every single day. Every single day you hop in and out of the shower, you're rubbing yourself. I used to do this for many years until I started looking at the ingredients in this crap. And I realized, holy crap, like, I lather myself. I have a loofah and then I just rub myself with it. Rub myself everywhere, my whole body. Especially like my private parts as well too, because I'm like, I want a good smelling D. You know what I mean? And it's like some of this stuff is the most, like, our organ, like our skin is an organ, and it's so porous, and you're just allowing those chemicals to get all over your body. So I think that's one thing. It's like, again, shout out to Connor Murphy for being open and honest and truthful about that. I think that's absolutely amazing. It's a very big insecurity, admitting that you had a deadly infection. But I think it's even more powerful of you to finally come out and say that you were able to fix that. And how? By doing something that is a big social, I'm missing the word right now. But it's like, it's weird to admit to others that you don't use body soap. I know it was like, I was concerned the first time I started admitting it, but I had a cold shower like a half an hour ago after I did a bunch of workout, and I went for a nice walk, and I smell fine right now. And I think that's another thing too, is pheromones that you excrete as a male, as a female. When you're perfuming up, when you're putting all this other stuff on you, that natural stuff isn't there. And it's like, if you're really going to get with someone, if you're really going to, have a sexual relationship with someone, like that thing you're spraying on you is going to go away. And then when you're naturally like rolling around together, you're going to have your natural stuff all there. So it's like, why even hide that from the beginning? Now, again, if you really, really, really stink, I think it's important to use natural stuff. But again, natural stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy that, like, everything I see in society is so backwards. Like, we just do everything backwards. Unknown Expression says, it has all become ridiculous. You are being censored and can't talk about certain subjects. Just this week, Dr. Disrespected Gamer was banned from Twitch without a reason. Getting sick of society. It is what it is, unfortunately. It is, the censorship is here. The book burning is here. You need to stand up for your, people you care about more than ever right now. Unknown Expression said, I had a thyroid nodule for 6 months. I then started taking lion's mane and magic mushrooms. 3 weeks later, it completely disappeared. That's crazy. Same thing with toilet paper. Switch to water hose or a bidet seat. Seriously. Yeah, that's something I've been considering as well, too. There's some toilet papers that I see that, like, there's just all this shit coming off of it. I'm like, what the fuck? And then there's sometimes, like, where, like, you have, like, tissues, and then they're almost, like, lotiony. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why do we need this so lotiony? Michelle Mayabel is in the chat, says, speaking of healing your skin, I made my own serums with essential oils and removed most of my wrinkles, age spots, large pores, etc. Wow, that's awesome. I started back in 2012 and I've gauged my progress through the years. That's crazy. I put a skin update on my Insta back in October for 49. I have to say, I do look a lot younger. That's wild. How can other people follow you on Instagram? What's your Insta here? Authenticity. Why do I always have a problem saying your username? If we already know, if you guys missed the beginning here, I completely butchered Lierre's name this whole time. So again, Lierre, if you're ever watching some of my videos, I apologize. It's not Leary Keith, it's Lierre Keith. Oh, I'm so brutal with that. But Authenticity Seeker, there we go, says, we need to get as many people as possible doing mushrooms before it's too late. Again, I don't think that's just going to be the huge switch that turns everyone on. I think it's information. I think it's people being more open-minded. I think many people are not even open-minded to taking something like that. So what, are we just going to dose them? But I think we need a major shift and change in society. That is for sure. And I think that starts with like how you vote, what's on your plate, what you vote with, what you watch, you vote with for your politicians when you go in that booth. So I think all that stuff matters. So moving on here, as you guys can see from the title of the video here is the Tesla of Men. Now, I'm not saying I'm the Tesla of men at all, but I think this concept is very interesting. So I want to share George Bruno's YouTube channel here. I think this guy's great. Again, I started following him a couple years back now. And just, of course, with all the censorship and stuff, I was not getting his notifications. Today, I wanted to go for a walk. I was kind of caught up on Joe Rogan Experience podcast. So I was like, scrolling through, I hit my subscriptions, which I honestly haven't done really often lately, and found this. So I binged a bunch of his videos while I was out there for a nice walk, and he has some great content here. So there's some stuff I want to share with you. First, let's get to this. So I want to make sure. Can you guys hear? Were you guys able to hear the body soap video when I played that? If so, we're gonna go ahead here. And here, Michelle is sharing her Insta handle. So if you guys want to go follow Michelle and go look at her skin transformation back to October, go check her out and go follow. But I believe you guys can hear me. The sound should be on. So we're going to share this part. So listen to what he has to say here.
Unproductive people have boring videos and social media. What could they possibly have to talk about that is of value? They can't help themselves. So what makes them think they're going to help you? If your favorite content creators don't have shit going on in their own life when they press stop, everyone's cool and busy and interesting when they press record. What about when they stop recording? What's going on in their life? What are they building? What are they building when the camera's not running? What is happening in their life? Find out. If they're not growing and moving, they have nothing to teach you. If they're pontificating, unload them. Speaking of unload, I want you to load me up. Subscribe to this channel.
Boom. I thought that was powerful, guys. I really suggest going to subscribe to him. I put a link to his channel down below, and like he has some powerful shit. And something I want to mention and something I want to say here about him. And like, this is what I just question in general as well, too. Like, I think what he said there was absolutely amazing. Like, if the content creators you guys are following aren't growing themselves, why are you following them? Just for entertainment? You can get entertainment from Netflix and the movies you watch. You need entertainment from every facet of life that you're doing. If you want to grow, if you want to become a better human being, you need to be following content creators that are growing themselves and taking the information and the knowledge that they're using to grow themselves, to grow yourself, to develop more skills and knowledge for yourself so you can find your passions in life. And those can synergize into your life task. So what I thought he said there was absolutely amazing. Like, unload these people. Anyone can be amazing on film and be like, woo, and show some awesome stuff. But I think what's actually happening is a lot of people who are getting censored, as I was mentioning earlier, are the people who are actually growing, because they're the ones actually questioning a lot of the crazy fucked up shit that's going on in the world right now. And that's what's being censored. But all the people, all the content creators who are avoiding talking about this stuff, the guys like John Venus right now, who just came out of the vegan closet, admitting that he's stopping being vegan. Apparently, he was stopped vegan many months before that, but he was concerned he's going to lose sponsors. He was going to be seen as fake if he admitted that. So you guys have to just be hyper aware of what you're watching, what kind of information you're digesting, and who you're getting it from. Because more than ever, we need to be cautious about this. And another thing too that I want to talk about and discuss here before I show you another aspect from George Bruno there is, like, should we really be listening to young people? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm a young person. I turned 30 this year. I'm still quite young. But that's why a lot of my content is just documenting. I don't think you should take my opinion or take my word for word. You should figure it out for yourself. Again, what I'm trying to do here on my YouTube channel is I'm trying to be a beacon of light. I'm trying to take in information, take in different books, taking concepts that I'm experimenting with it, and push it out and just share what I've been documenting and the results that are happening for me. That's literally been the last 6 years of my YouTube channel. All the skills and knowledge that I've been developing and experimenting with, I'm showing you the results that are happening to me and sharing it with you guys. Someone reached out to me the other day and like during all this COVID and during all this kind of like stuff that's going on in the world, and said, like, you know, we had a little back and forth, just a discussion. He's like, I'm thinking of making a podcast. And I was like, bro, like, you're not Joe Rogan. Like, it's a shitty thing to admit. And this is what I question sometimes too, but why would anyone care about your opinion? Why does anyone care about my opinion? I think the only reason you guys care is because you understand that I'm trying to be as open and honest and truthful about everything that I do. And I have experience now to back it up. 6 years of just documenting all this experience that's happened to me. And I have some results. Nothing fascinating. Now, why do we listen to people like Joe Rogan? Because he's done so much fascinating shit in life. And he brings so many fascinating people on. But most people don't care about your fucking opinion. And that's what I think most people, like, I've heard so many people reach out to me like, I'm thinking of starting a podcast. It's like, what do you do in life that people would want to listen to your opinion anyways? Do you offer any value to people? Do you have any crazy life experiences? So that's why I think George Bruno is an awesome guy, because he's an old gentleman. He's had a lot of life experience. So there's a lot to learn there. And I think this is something we're losing from society as well, too, that we don't respect our elders anymore. I grew up having my grandmother and my grandfather teaching me almost everything. I learned a little bit from my mom, my stepdad, but most of the concepts, I used to go to my grandparents' house every Tuesday with my sister. And every Tuesday, my grandmother taught me French. And we would go to the park with my grandfather, and when we play basketball or do something physical. And I'm so glad for that. But again, why do we listen to people like Joe Rogan, for instance? Because he has so many things in his past that lead you to him just sitting there talking. If you want to just talk on the internet, you better be someone who has some experience to share or have provided value to people over time. Joe Rogan has done Fear Factor, UFC. He was an actor. He's a comedian. So all these different facets of life that people are a fan of him from, go to check out his opinions and his views. And now, over time, over the many years that he's been doing this, he's showing that he does a very good job at just talking and engaging and having interesting dialect and conversations with other people. But I've seen so many podcasts fail after 5 episodes, 10 episodes, 20, 30, 40, because they're just people trying to share their opinion. But I don't think they realize that, like, a lot of people have very similar opinions. So you have to be a very engaging or a very interesting person. Now, I realized when I was growing up, I was actually one of Joe Rogan's first people watching his live streams. I remember it was like Christmas Eve, and I started Twitter like 2 months before that, and I was following people, and he did a live stream, and he was sharing like his very first live stream ever. And I was like, what the hell's this? Like, this guy's live. Joe Rogan's live? What is live? Like, it was so weird to have anyone live on social media. And I remember watching it, and I was like, holy crap. And then I remember watching over the first couple of years as he was doing it. I was like, I think I watched his first 100 episodes. And then over time, I started to like flake off and start doing my own stuff. And then I started recently just coming back and digesting some of his more interesting stuff. But again, that's why I started following him in the first place, is because he had experience. He had some kind of like, I wanted to follow Joe Rogan because I knew him from Fear Factor. I knew him from the UFC. I knew him from these other aspects of life. So you guys have to be super interesting if you think you could just talk on the internet. But I remember back then and watching his first 100 episodes, it's like, this is going to be big. And eventually I would love if my job is something similar to that, where I could just talk and have very engaging conversations. But I realized for myself, like, no one's going to give a fuck about me unless I do something great with my life and provide a lot of value to people along that journey and have some crazy life experiences. So that's what the last 6 years of my life have been, is just sharing my life as I do all these crazy things. Like doing all these calorie experiments, doing the mushroom experiments, doing oil pulling, doing stomach vacuums, and just documenting all these aspects of my life while trying to provide value to people. Now, I still think at the age of 30 that, like, why would people give a fuck about my opinion? So that's why I still just try to provide as much value as I can to the world, because I realize it's still too early for me to just be able to sit there and have conversations with people openly and honestly, and anyone would really care. So just consider that, guys. Like, you have to be a very interesting person. But I also think, too, our elders, the ones who actually have some experience, but a lot of our elders are people that we can learn a lot from. So that's why I think it's important. Like, guys, go check out this George Bruno guy. It's absolutely amazing. But before we check out his last thing, I just want to share some of the conversation going on in here. Unknown Expression says, do you play video games? That is one addiction I want to conquer. No, I do not. I see my life as like a video game. Like, I get views and this stuff is always happening. Like, I get comments coming in. So I see the more I put in, the more I get out of it. Once a month, maybe I'll go and play like flash games online just to give myself a little like break from everything. But even then, it's very, very rare. We got Andre says, hola. Authenticity Seeker says, Joe Rogan is a sellout. Interesting. I think we'll see what other people here say. But, Will Winter says, I had to stop watching Joe. I realized he's a part of the agenda. So I stopped watching him, and I didn't enjoy his content for a bit because I felt he was holding back a lot in regards to what he was discussing. And if you guys started watching him recently, he's discussing how, like, he can't have certain people on the podcast because of YouTube, not because of what he like wants to say and the guests he wants to have. He's realized that, like, I need to go to another platform now. And that's why I believe he signed on with Spotify, because he just wants to get the fuck away from YouTube, because YouTube is the one censoring people. YouTube is the one saying, nah, you can't have this guest on your podcast. Just like, people should be listening to David Icke and, listen to London Real, not Joe Rogan. Well, that's the thing, is that, like, London Real used to be on YouTube. He had one person on his podcast, and then boom, they shut him down everywhere. So I think that's what Joe Rogan's doing. Joe Rogan is making the move to other platforms where you can actually have very engaging discussions. I heard, who knows if this is true, I just heard this in the grapevine or on Twitter or something, but that Joe Rogan, one of his first guests is going to be like Alex Jones on the podcast. So I hope he has interesting people like this, David Icke, all these other people. I personally don't believe he's like a sellout. I think he's still a very true, open, and honest person. I think he has some great dialect with people. But I don't know him. You know what I mean? I only know what I see. But for someone who can sit there for 3 hours and have an open and honest discussion, like, you'd have to be really holding back to not speak how truthfully I feel he is speaking. Unknown Expression says, then you hit 40 me and start thinking it's too late to do things. You just got to keep going. You can't stop. Misha Mayabel says, David Icke spoke so much real, Facebook removed him from their platform. Yeah, like, me even saying the word Ike might get this fucking live stream pulled down. Who knows? But yeah, like, I agree. David Icke is crazy a bit. Yeah, there's some concepts where I'm like, damn, it's very interesting what he's saying. But at some levels, I'm like, what the fuck is he saying here? Yeah, it's pretty intense. But last little bit here, I'm just going to share this this concept from George Bruno, where he's discussing, are you the Tesla of men or women, etc. I think this was very interesting. Right before this, he was talking about all these different tools. He's got like a nose trimmer and ear trimmer that he says is the Tesla of nose trimmers. He has a pocket knife that he's discussing, like, this is the Tesla of pocket knives. So here he's actually going into humans, and I think this is interesting. So I want to share this with you guys.
You see a lot of poor examples of people, the physicality. Let's talk about the Tesla of men. What would be the Tesla of men? It's not something that you would call yourself. It's something that somebody else would call you. which means that you are at your optimum weight, an acceptable strength, a strong grip. Think about it. Your grip is so important. If you're reading or something, you really need to be just like squeezing a rubber ball and developing your grip. Your grip does get weaker as you get older. It doesn't get stronger. It gets weaker. Every entropy says everything slows down and cools off. That's why you need to keep yourself going. So here I am, 6 decades on this earth, going into my 7th decade. I should be out of shape, like most people. I should be taking a handful of medications every morning. But what do they say? Life is for the living, and this body is supposed to last a lifetime. And that's what's supposed to happen with you. Are you the Tesla of men? The fit and finish are perfect, sleek, aerodynamic, mentally sharp, emotionally stable, with touches of stoicism. And the thing that comes out of you is sanity, clarity, and reason in all things. You're not led around by your emotions, by sugar highs or sugar lows. As a female, what is the Tesla of females? A woman with a nice hairstyle or just long hair pulled back. A woman who can not have to wear makeup or gets enhanced with makeup, whose body is the best version of itself. She dresses smart. She walks smart. She has a great posture. She floats when she walks. She smiles. She's friendly to most, not all. How can you be the Tesla of men, the Tesla of women? What can you do? I hope that's inspiring for you.
Boom. I thought that was inspiring when I heard that. I was like, damn, George Bruno, like, holy shit. So I don't agree with everything he said there, but again, I truly believe you shouldn't be taking my opinion for anything. I'm 30 years old. I still have so much to learn. I have like 20 books that are sitting on my bookshelf that I still have to read. That's still so much information that I need to gain. I still have so much life experience that I need to gain. I don't think we should be taking advice. I don't think we should be taking counsel. And this is something I said in a previous live stream, that there's a difference between advice and there's a difference between counsel. And this is a concept that I'm taking from Matt McKeever and his business partner, Ben Humble CEO, is that there's a big difference because everyone can give you advice. You can get advice from your mom on a subject. You can get advice from your buddy on a subject. But counsel comes from experience. Counsel comes from someone who's gone through the shit, who's been there, who's done that. And who knows if George Bruno has actually gone through that shit, but I think, he's what I would consider like a mentor. Now, I don't have him personally in my life, but I think we should be taking advice from people like that. So I have many men who reach out to me on Instagram asking me for advice on things. And I try to tell them, like, I can't give you any recommendations. All I can say is, like, if you have a question about fat loss, it's like, caloric deficit or this. Besides that, I have to dive deep into your life to truly give you a recommendation. I tried coaching like the first year here on YouTube because a bunch of people reached out and wanted me to coach them. And I did it for a little bit, but I was like, man, this is so unfulfilling because I felt like I was just hand-holding. I felt like I was babysitting people rather than truly optimizing them and helping them to get to their full true potential, as I talked about in a live stream the other day. And what I want to do is help people reach their true full potential, but I still have so much to learn before I can help people do that. I'm still experimenting on myself. Is carnivore good? Is eating meat good? Is eating vegetables good? Like, this is what I'm trying to figure out. You know what I mean? So to all the men and maybe even women out there who, reach out to me and are looking for advice or counsel on subjects, I would say go check out George Bruno and hear what he has to say. Again, he's a 60-year-old man, and that's what I hope to do and be when I'm that old, where I can just talk and give people advice and life lessons. Until then, I still have a lot of experimenting. I still have a lot of time, effort, and energy I need to put into this stuff for people to even care about what I have to say. You know, we got 13 to 15 amazing people in here, and I truly appreciate all you guys being in here. And I've gotten thousands of views, even millions of views on some videos, but they're only on little aspects of life. They're not on the full spectrum, the full circle, the full cycle of life. And that's what I truly want to help people with. But I've realized for myself, I still got so much to learn before I can provide value in that kind of a way. So if you guys are interested, go check out George Bruno. I think his stuff is great. Again, I just binged his last 6 or 7 videos. And again, I don't agree with everything he says, but I agree with a lot of what he says. He's gone through shit. He's gone through life. And if you're a man out there who's lost upon your journey, I believe I can help you in a little bit, but not the full circle. Definitely not yet. I'm not perfect. I'm not great. I have not achieved greatness in life. Hopefully I will one day. But for now, I'm just truly appreciative of where I am on this path. I'm truly content with my journey. And that's something that I think I can share with others, is that, you know, I shared it with your full potential in the last live stream. Go check that video out if you guys haven't seen that yet. But I discussed, like, you know, chasing happiness in life is not a good thing to go for, because happiness is an emotion. It comes and goes. And as you get something new, the happiness is going to be there, but then it's going to go away. So I think the best thing you need to be chasing in life is true contentment. Are you content with where you are right now at this current point in your life? If you are, then it won't matter if you're happy or sad or things are hard or things are going super smooth and easy. But if you're not content with where you're at right now, there's something you could be doing about it. If you're not content with your body weight, there's something you can go do about that right now. If you're not content with your intellect, there's a book that you can pick up right now. There's lots of stuff. And that's what I've just been sharing along my path for the last 6 years, is things that you can do to start optimizing your mind, your body, your hormones, and your lifestyle so you can start getting better. So you can get to that point of contentment in life. Because I know for myself, I don't know if it was depression, because when I hear other people talk about depression, it sounds different. I think we all feel this stuff. But it's when you're not doing enough with your life, that's when the negative thoughts and feelings come in. When you're not content with your life, I think that's when this depression starts to come in. But you can do something about that. But you have to start. And in the beginning, as I mentioned in that last video, go check it out, Reaching Your Full Potential. Starting something new, you're going to have to go a mile just to get that little inch of progress. A whole mile just to get a little bit better. But every single day, you know, after 7 days, you're going to be 7 inches farther. And then a year later, you're going to be 32 or 37 feet farther than when you started. And in the beginning of that new skill or that new piece of knowledge that you're trying to build, you're going to have to crawl through that mile just to get that inch. But then after a week or two, you're going to be standing up. Your knees aren't going to be bleeding anymore because you're not going to have to crawl through it. You're going to be walking through it, but it's still going to take a long time. Then after a month, you're jogging through this mile every day. You're like, holy crap, I can't believe a month ago I was crawling. And then after a couple months, a year, you're sprinting through that mile just to get that inch. And then you can develop more inches in all these other areas of your life. But until you start doing it, until you start experimenting it, until you start saying, I'm not content with where I'm at right now, and I'm going to analyze my life and see what I can do to get there and what I can do better right now, then you're on the path to starting becoming happy in life. Because again, happiness comes and goes, but contentment, it won't matter. So I hope I could just leave you with that here, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here. This is where we're going to end it. And I really appreciate you guys here on my journey, here on my path. I want to help you guys as much as I can, but I still have a lot of life experience to gain. I still have a lot of information to learn so I can keep beaconing out all this information with you guys. So truly appreciate having you guys on my path and on this journey. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I am the Hungarian Experiment.